This is Valley News Live at noon.
There are signs that diplomacy is not off the table to avoid a war between Russia and Ukraine, but Russia's actions are still being questioned. Skylar Henry has more details from the White House.
Russia's defense minister announced its forces near the border with Ukraine will march home as soon as its large-scale military exercises are over.
It strains credulity to think that they would have this many troops arrayed along the border with Ukraine and in Belarus simply for winter exercises.
The Russian military released this video. It says shows tank units heading home. And President Vladimir Putin told German Chancellor Olaf Scholz that he's ready to negotiate with NATO and the U.S.
There are signs from Moscow that diplomacy should continue. This gives grounds for cautious optimism. But so far, we have not seen any sign of de-escalation on the ground.
These satellite images show a deployment of a new helicopter squadron and soldiers to Belgorod, Russia, just 24 miles from the border with Ukraine. And a U.S. official tells CBS News that Russia has now moved rocket launchers and long-range artillery into firing positions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke with his Russian counterpart today, and President Biden talked with French President Emmanuel Macron. But the U.S. believes a Russian attack is much more likely than its European allies do.
The thing that causes the concern is the just mass array of forces around Ukraine, particularly in Belarus near Kyiv. There's still a good bit of difference between how the U.S. perceives that and the way, for example, our European allies do.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin left Washington this morning to hold talks with NATO allies in Belgium. He'll also visit with U.S. troops deployed to Lithuania and Poland during his European trip. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The State Department issued 2 new travel warnings. The U.S. is now advising Americans to avoid travel to Belarus and Moldova. Both countries are friendly with Russia and could be used to launch attacks into Ukraine. We're still on the Clipper train with temps warming up today, but expected to fall again soon. Let's get a first look at your forecast with Summer Schnellbach. Summer.
Thank you so much, JC. You can see those flags flying. That wind is with us again for today. And we've had some areas of light snow through this morning. That's continuing to lift up to the north, but we could see a little bit more moving through heading into this afternoon. The wind also increasing. It's breezy now, but it's going to become even windier later today, and that could lead to some blowing snow, especially across the northern tier of the valley where we see that fresh snow so far today. Tonight, we'll see those icy roads yet again with that snow and with the blowing snow. Another rinse and repeat, like I've been saying the last several days. Here's a look at satellite and radar where that snow is lifting up into northwestern Minnesota. And this type of snow, it's a lot lower to the surface than, say, thunderstorm clouds. So radar has a harder time picking it up when it moves away from radar. Keep in mind, the Rayville is way out here in Mayville, so it is snowing in northwestern Minnesota. Just radar has a hard time picking that up. And we do have a little bit more snow on the way. That's moving into the oil patch of North Dakota, but it's going to be fairly light. Here's a recent snapshot of Highway 59 near Thief River Falls. Conditions are looking a little better, but you can definitely see the snow and wind combining, leading to some trickier travel. So JC, coming up in just a minute, we'll time out when all this is expected to hit in terms of wind, and also we've called the First Alert Weather Day for Friday. We got details on that for you.
Another First Alert Weather Day, another Clipper.
Yes.
Thank you, Summer. The former Kmart building in South Fargo has been sitting empty, but before the lot can get a much-needed facelift, crews are having a lot of work to do, and property developers say right now they're working to remove asbestos and other hazardous material. The biggest talk pictured here in yellow, plans for elderly low-income housing. Now closer to University Drive, a strip mall with hopes to fill the spots with restaurants pictured here in red, health clinics, pharmacies, and coffee shops. Developers say they hope to break ground in the low-income housing this summer with the goal of finishing the project by fall 2023. The busiest border between North Dakota and Canada remains open, but blocked on the Canadian side by demonstrators. Officials say since the protests started Thursday, traffic has slowed from up to 900 trucks daily to nearly nothing between Emerson, Manitoba and Pembina, North Dakota. Protesters are using semis and farm equipment to block highway lanes, but they were allowing some trucks hauling livestock to pass through into the U.S. Drivers of a few smaller vehicles also have made their way through the blockade. Minnesota Senate Republicans are pitching a parents' bill to rights to empower parents by giving them more access to curriculum at their children's schools. The bills would require access to the class syllabi within the first 2 weeks of the start of classes and provide all instruction materials without cost to parents who want them. Teachers are concerned that the requirements would pile on more duties for an already exhausted workforce and create an opening for future censorship and book bans that prevent teachers on topics like race and gender. Teachers for thousands of Minnesota students are voting on whether they should go on strike. Minneapolis teachers started the process yesterday, and teachers in St. Paul will do the same later this week. The teachers union is asking for more mental health resources, smaller class sizes, and increased pay. Results of both votes are expected Thursday night. Now, Valley News Live is once again teaming up with Make-A-Wish North Dakota for its Wishes in Flight Miles for Smiles drive. Air travel is the largest expense of the chapter's annual Wish budget, but you can help next week by donating unused air miles to help Make-A-Wish give dream vacations to children diagnosed with critical illnesses. We spoke with Make-A-Wish family about their inspiring journey, and we'll have that story for you tonight on Valley News Live at 6. Coming up at noon, how a Super Bowl ad was so popular it crashed the company website. But next, a First Alert Weather Day is now in the forecast. When and where to expect snow and gusty winds.